I'm not gonna lie to you. This movie was fucking weird. It was a really weird experience. And I'll say this: I'm a fan of The Weeknd. I really am. I'm not a big fan to the point where like the last show he made was so good and everybody who hates it was like, oh, fucking idiot. They don't understand. No, no. Like the show he made with whatever her name was and like on whatever the fucking platform was weird. I watched 3 episodes and I was done. I could not keep watching it. This movie was not like that. I will say that much. It was not like that. It wasn't cringy. It wasn't completely cringy. You know what I mean? Like there weren't moments where I felt uncomfortable watching it. There really wasn't. There's like one or two scenes where I was like, "What the fuck?" or like just weirded out, but not cringy to the point where like I'm just, ugh. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like that. But from the trailers, like this movie, I did not know what it was gonna be about. I really had no idea what it was gonna be about. I really thought it was gonna be like a story he told, like based off his album or like playing music from his album, but it wasn't. It wasn't anything like that. And what surprises me the most, my friend who's an even bigger Weekend fan, he was also confused. He really was, and I don't understand what the fucking point of the movie was. I really don't. And you know what? I'm gonna say this. It's not really worth watching. It's really not. And so I'm gonna spoil it. Like right now, it's spoilers. So it starts off with like his girlfriend breaking up with him because like he did something to her that we as the audience don't know, but it's a voicemail where like, oh, you did me so dirty, you made me feel so small, and you're a bad person, and your mom would be ashamed of you, which is what she says. And obviously, it's a heartbreak. You know what I mean? Like he's heartbroken as fuck. It's really really bad, and so he's performing while heartbroken, and the next what's it called? And he's so desperate that he calls her. He calls her like after the show. He calls her, but she doesn't answer. And then he's like to his friend, "Hey, you call her." And he calls her, and she doesn't answer. And then he texts her, and she doesn't answer. And he's just like having the biggest heartbreak, mental breakdown. Like his life is just like it feels shattered. You know what I mean? And that's sad. That's a good story device. Like you're on tour as a really big famous artist while going through the worst heartbreak of your life. That's interesting. That's actually very, very interesting. But, but like, okay, this is where it gets weird. Jenna Ortega, her character is literally nobody. And I don't mean that in terms of like, oh, we don't know her name, we don't know. No, we don't know anything about her. It's like a character they wanted to flesh out, they wanted to do something with, but they never did. They had like sprinkles of stuff happening with her in terms of like, oh, like why is she burning down this house, or what did she do to her mom, or like why is she on the run? Like, not on the run. That's really dramatic. Why is she driving by herself? Why is she completely broke? Why is she at the Weekend concert? It's like what the fuck. So it's like okay, they'll explain this later on when she meets the Weekend, which she does, because but no, like for some reason, like her character was fleshed out. Like, here's her character, and usually they flesh out like here. You know what I mean? But no, it went like, that's it. That's all we know about her character, and it's so fucking weird. It really is, and I just don't see the point of. I feel like Jenna Ortega's character was forced. You know what I mean? They just wanted to have Jenna Ortega there because, like I said, in the movie, the Weeknd's at a concert and he's going to perform, but he's crying, he's sad, and everything's just going wrong. And he tells the guy, like this manager, like, hey, cut this shit. I don't want to perform. I don't want to be here. This and that. And the manager gives him like some of that fresh some cocaine. That's what he gives him. And he gives it to him, and he's like, bro, take like you're a fucking god, you're a fucking genius. They're out here for you, this and that. Like one bitch can't ruin your life and whatever. And he's like, but bro, I can't sing. The doctor said I can't sing. And then he's like, the doctor said it was all psychological, Like, okay, he can't sing. That's a good reason to not go to perform at a fucking concert. He's like, you'll lip sync, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And like, Weekend's like, fine, I'll go out there and perform. He goes out to perform, and he realizes his mic is off. He can't sing. He's completely out of whack. He just can't do it. And he leaves. He leaves the concert. You know what I mean? And everybody's looking for him. And Jenna Ortega, even though she's broke as fuck, sleeping in her car, got tickets to see the Weeknd. How? How the fuck do you get weekend tickets when you're sleeping in your car and stealing gasoline? Like, what the fuck do you mean? That's okay. Whatever. Anyway, ignoring that, you know, she manages to hop over the fence and meet the Weeknd, not on stage, but while he's running away, just casually, so randomly, and it's like, what? And I forgot to say this during the concert when he was having a breakdown. They stare at each other, Jenna Ortega and the Weeknd, and they're both like, literally what they look like, literally what they fucking look like. So they meet, whatever. They have the most like a beautiful indie movie night. You know, they go to the docks where there's a fair. They go ride roller coasters, this and that, blah blah blah. They go to a hotel. They talk about themselves. Like he shows her a song and she cries and she tells the story of like, oh, my mom raised me by herself and I felt bad, so I left and I feel bad for leaving, and that's all we know. Literally all we fucking know about her character. And so the next day comes, whatever, you know, and they're having breakfast at 4 p.m., this and that. And he decides, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my manager, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Because they're blowing up his phone, his mom, his manager, his people, security, and she's freaking out. Like, she's really, like, fucking, like, toxic and, like, crazy and, like, freaking out really badly. And she's like, why are you leaving me? This and that, blah, 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 just, yeah, like, going fucking crazy. And the Weeknd's like, bitch, I gotta go. I gotta fucking leave. You know what I mean? Like, we had a great night. And, this is the shit that happens when you mess with rock stars. I'm sorry. And as he's about to leave, she hits him in the head. And he goes he goes through this fucking dream that feels like a scary movie. And it makes no sense. Because everyone disappears. Literally, the hotel staff, people in the street. There's no one anywhere. He goes down the elevator. There's a girl crying. And it's like a scary movie where she chases him. Like, not even Jenna Ortega, just some random fucking bitch that's in the basement of the hotel, apparently, just crying in a weird... Whatever. And it's just like a weird thing. He wakes up, tied to the bed, with Jenna Ortega, like, telling him, why are you crying? Why are you so sad? Be honest with me. And he's freaking out. The Weeknd is obviously freaking out. He's like, oh, why you tied me up? Do you need money? Do you need this? Do you need that? I'll give you whatever you want. And she's like, I want the truth from you. What the fuck do you mean the truth? Literally, what the fuck do you mean the truth? And here's where it gets cringy. Here's where it gets really cringy. She's like, let me play you your music and explain your own music to you. And she does. She plays Blinding Lights. And she's like dancing and singing to it. Like the camera's focused on her. And it's like, it's just really awkward. Because the Weeknd's tied up. And she's just like explaining the song while she's dancing and singing it. And it's like such a weird thing. And she's pretty. Jenna Ortega's she's really pretty, obviously. And it takes away from her being awkward in that situation, but it is actually really awkward. And she does it again to like 3 songs, and the entire time she's like, who is this song about? What's it about? Like this and that. Like, I don't know why. And then finally the manager tracks him down because he tracks the Weeknd's phone, and he essentially breaks in because Jenna Ortega says, oh, he's not here, blah blah blah, but obviously he knows he's there because of the phone. And he breaks in thinking that something has gone wrong. And for some reason, like, he hears the Weeknd muffled, tied up in the other room. He hears him, and as he's about to open the door, Jenna Ortega splashes him with some water, and he's like, this bitch... for some reason, his mental state was, she ruined my coat. I'm gonna fight this bitch. And he fights that bitch. He fights Jenna Ortega. And for some reason, he wins. He's gonna win. He's like choking her, like trying to kill her. It's like, bro, you're doing too much. Like, trust me, she's not gonna, like, she's Jenna Ortega. She's short, she's skinny. She's not gonna put up a fight. She's really not, and she doesn't. But lo and behold, she grabs a piece of glass off the ground from their fight, kills him, and she starts crying, which makes sense, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, self-defense, whatever. But her first thought, shit, I killed him. I gotta burn this place down now. The hotel. So she grabs the jerry can from her comedically big, like, it feels like she pulls it out of her pocket. In GTA 5, whenever like you're pulling out like guns and Trevor's in his underwear and he's just like, and he pulls out a fucking gun. That's literally what happens with Jenna Ortega. Like, that's how the jerry can literally just spawns into the world. And she puts it in the hotel room. And finally, like, as she's about to light the Weeknd on fire, he starts singing acoustically, and he sings really good. Like, he's a really good singer. but it's like the most awkward situation of like, why sing at this moment? What the fuck? And so he sings, and she's like, that's what I wanted. She unties him. She lights the room on fire. The Weeknd walks out of the hotel room into like the pre-show stage, before he's about to perform, and it's the exact same scene from the beginning. That's the entire movie. That's literally the entire movie. And like I said, it makes no fucking sense. Like, I don't feel bad about spoiling it, because talking about it out loud is like, what the fuck even was this movie? Like I said, I know Jenna Ortega's name because he said it once. He literally said it once. And he said Annie. And that's all I know about her character. And she left her mom for something. But that's it. And the Weeknd is heartbroken or whatever. And I always thought, oh, the movie's gonna be about the Weeknd realizing there's worse things than getting your heart broken. Because Jenna Ortega's character is literally fucking crazy, tying this motherfucker up and threatening his life. That's worse than a breakup, in my opinion. And I thought that was the point of the movie. But it wasn't. Or it could have been. I don't know. The movie didn't really tie together in the end. It was confusing. Like, there were so many strobing lights. There were so many, like, scenes of, like, where, like, the camera blurs and, like, it feels like you're doing drugs. When he wasn't even doing drugs. And then, like, it's just such a weird fucking movie. And, I mean, it was enjoyable. But the only reason why I was enjoying it was because I was trying my hardest to like understand the plot or understand what was happening, because it was like, I swear it was weird. It was a weird movie experience. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. Like, that's all I'm saying. If you think it'll be a good movie, it won't be. If you think it'll be as weird as a show he came out with That One Girl, it won't be. It's just an experience. It's not a good. It's not a bad. But definitely don't watch it. I'm just gonna say that. And honestly, yeah, take care.